Here, in what will likely be one of the final theory crafts, are tests for both the Warpriest and for Golgoroth. We'll be looking at the usual heavy hitters in this video, Black Spindle, Ex Machina, Ghorn, and Sleeper Simulant for now, since they've been the most popular picks. Now, Warpriest and Golgoroth are a bit different to your average raid bosses because their damage windows are significantly longer than other bosses, and you'll see why this sorta impacts our results slightly very soon. Warpriest, on average, will give you about 40 seconds of damage opportunity, 40 to 43 seconds. Golgoroth, on the other hand, is even longer. These are bosses where primary weapons could be a factor in your damage output as well, but I'm not going to be discussing primary weapons in this video. The first thing we're going to look at is Black Spindle on Warpriest. Black Spindle was easily the most popular choice back in the Taken King because it was just awesome, and it still is. Firing at 1 round per second, we can fire 15 to 18 shots in just as many seconds, giving us 418,725 total damage with illuminated weapons of light for 15 shots, and even more damage for more shots. That damage is done in about 20 to 25 seconds, factoring in getting into position, refreshing your weapons buff, and any minor adjustments you might need to make during your shooting. So, good damage, but then we're out of ammo, but we still have time to shoot the boss. We'll keep this in mind going forward. Ex Machina results in the same amount of damage per shot, but is a bit slower due to the reloads that you need to perform. Also, just for the record, I use Ex Machina as a standard because 1, it's a very good PvE sniper, and 2, it's static. It has the same role for everyone, so it's easy to test for. If you have an equal or better sniper, something like triple tap, casket mag, spray and play, etc., something with really good PvE bonuses, then by all means, you should use that sniper in Ex Machina's place and should expect somewhat similar results. Next up, we're going to try out Ghorn. Ghorn, again, a nightmare to count in terms of damage, but a single rocket is about 53,000 damage. However, like usual, when fired back to back, the second rocket fired will not do the full 53,000 damage. As an example, I fired 7 rockets with about 5.5 of them having Shadow Shot applied on the boss, dealing approximately 392,000 damage. But if each rocket did full damage every single time, that number would be about 500,000. But let's just say, just for now, that each rocket does full damage. That means we're looking at around 372,617 damage for 7 rockets in around 18 to 20 seconds, going as fast but as safe as we can. Again, this leaves us with a solid chunk of time remaining to still do damage, which would be used up by probably a sniper, like Ex Machina. In fact, if we're quick, we can sneak in up to 12 shots with Ex Machina, assuming you've loaded the gun with a set of 4 shots beforehand, but if not, that's okay. 27,915 damage times 12 shots is 334,980 damage. 372,617 perfect Ghorn damage, plus the sniper damage, is equal to 707,597 total damage. But again, that assumes perfect Ghorn rocket damage, which is something we are not getting, so that number is going to be a little bit lower. Then we have Sleeper Simulant, pretty simple calculations here. 49,021 damage per shot with illuminated weapons of light, times 9 shots is 441,189 damage, or with 12 shots, since we will actually have the time to fire off 12 shots unlike most other fights, 588,252 damage. With 9 shots fired, we can squeeze in up to 11 Ex Machina shots, and with 12 sleeper shots, we can squeeze in up to 7 Ex Machina shots. With the 9 sleeper, 11 sniper combo, we top out at 748,254 damage, and with the 12 sleeper, 7 sniper combo, we top out at 783,757 damage total. So again, Sleeper Simulant comes out on top of Ghorn, which at this point I think surprises no one at all. But what about Black Spindle? Well, Black Spindle puts out crazy good damage in a very fast amount of time, but by itself, it cannot keep up. To match the Sleeper Sniper combo, we need about 300,000 damage in 20 seconds, which is basically going to require a heavy weapon to some degree. As an example, my Silvered Dread from Iron Banner was critting for 2,380 damage with Illuminated Weapons of Light. 300,000 divided by 2380 equals 126 shots in order to match, which is a fun coincidence because in this random clip, the max I could hold was 125 shots. So I would need to crit on every single silver dread shot, all 125 rounds, to match the sleeper sniper combo. I did a quick time test with this weapon with spray and play, and it took about 23 seconds to dump all 125 shots, going as fast as possible. Other machine guns may vary, but without spray and play, I don't think you're going to be able to match the damage. It'll be close though. Another issue with these longer sequences is that you are going to run out of ammo, and if you don't one-cycle the boss, which the average group is probably not doing, there are going to be times where you have no heavy ammo at all and you'll only have access to special ammo. In that case, Black Spindle is going to provide you with the largest benefit. So, you could roll with Sleeper Sniper at the start and then switch to Spindle if you don't manage to get any heavy ammo. However, you could just pop a heavy ammo synth. The situation is very fluid. You should do whatever will provide you with the best damage at the time. But if you have the ammo and the aim, again, Sleeper is going to bring the damage with a sniper follow-up. Ghorn is a safer bet, but not as high of a payout. Then we move to Golgoroth, who can provide up to 2 minutes of DPS time per damage cycle. That's a very long time. But for starters, we'll look at 1 orb's worth of damage. Using Sleeper Simulant with Illuminated Weapons of Light, provided you are quick enough, you can fire off 6 shots before Golgoroth needs to be rotated. 6 shots, 205,886 damage per shot, that's 1.2 million and change damage. Good chunk of damage. Using Black Spindle with the same conditions, technically, we can get out our entire magazine before a rotation needs to happen. With Spindle, we're doing 184,235 damage per shot, same conditions, which is only 20,000 damage less per shot than Sleeper. In fact, with 7 Spindle shots, we out-damage Sleeper Simulant on 1 orb in about half the amount of time, which is insane. Without Weapons of Light, we only need 9 shots to match the Sleeper's damage with Weapons of Light, Illuminated. The crit spot on Golgoroth is also insanely easy to hit, provided that he's actually turned the right direction, which makes chaining Spindle very, very easy, which means high uptime. Ex Machina also does the same damage per shot as Spindle and will outperform Sleeper in the same amount of shots. It'll just take an extra second or two because of the reload. It is based on that alone that I will continue to recommend Black Spindle for Golgoroth. However, Red Death is pretty popular as an exotic for the fight as well if you're one of the tanks. Killing the orbs with Red Death can make your life very, very easy. So if you're using Red Death or any other exotic for whatever reason, then Ex Machina or your sniper equivalent of any crazy triple tap, spray and play, etc. sniper will also work very well. The Golgoroth fight is also very random. You might get a ton of ammo, you might get 0 ammo, you might get unstable light 4 times, but in general, you should be using a sniper. As for Daughters of Oryx, I see no reason to not use Touch of Malice because it still works with the complete immunity shield that you get. On Oryx, Touch of Malice also still works great, you just need to be a bit more careful. But because Oryx isn't really a DPS race, Sleeper, Ghorn, and Spindle or an equal sniper are all great for annihilating ogres very quickly. Combine that with a weapons bubble in the middle and some quiver and predator shadow shots to add more damage taken, and ogres will just melt in a few shots. Anyway, those are my recommendations for King's Fall. I will be releasing a what does Datto use for loadouts in the raids kind of video thing pretty soon, but if you've been following all the theorycraft videos, then I'd say you will be all caught up for the most part. If you enjoyed this video, a positive rating would be pretty cool. Thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you next time.